Also at the Minnesota Capitol today, people stood on the steps showing solidarity with immigration protesters in Los Angeles. Governor Tim Walz is backing California Governor Gavin Newsom, who said that President Donald Trump flamed the fires.
Walz blasted what he calls Trump's abuse of power for calling up the National Guard and now deploying U.S. Marines after a weekend of violent clashes in Los Angeles. Freeways have been blocked and cars set on fire. Despite the backlash, Jonah Kaplan shows us why the commander-in-chief may have the law on his side.
Governor Tim Walz on Monday joining every Democratic U.S. governor by signing this letter, calling on President Trump to, quote, respect the executive authority of our country's governors. In Minnesota, Walz is the commander-in-chief of the Minnesota National Guard, but so is the president. Elon Werman teaches constitutional law at the University of Minnesota Law School.
Federal law, of course, is supreme over state law and state executive decisions.
According to Werman, there are two competing federal laws at play. One from the 1790s gives the president power to call up a militia. Another, passed after the Civil War, restricts deploying the military for everyday law and order purposes, with exceptions.
In the 1950s, President Dwight Eisenhower sent forth a regular Army division, the 101st Airborne, to enforce the Supreme Court's Brown v. Board desegregation decision.
According to President Trump, efforts to impede immigration agents, including an especially violent resistance, amount to a rebellion or insurrection. If similar protests erupt here, legal experts we spoke with warn Walz would be in the same position as California Governor Gavin Newsom, a potentially big battle in court.
Does rebellion mean something like a civil war has broken out, like a real, a suspension of ordinary operations? Or does rebellion mean there's a relatively small group of people who are unhappy?
Where there is no dispute, Congress has absolute power to write and pass a law that spells all this out. Jonah Kaplan, WCCO News.
Governor Walz called up the National Guard to help with the civil unrest after the murder of George Floyd. According to a Guard spokesman, the president often activates the Minnesota Guard for domestic and international missions.